All right, this part of the season's already halfway over. How you feeling about that?
Not good.
Not good.
Nope.
Okay. Not because she didn't like it, but because she likes it too much.
Yeah, I don't want it to be over already.
Yeah, in like 2 weeks. Pretty crazy.
It's crazy.
All right, so episode 2, Let the Right One In, obviously named after a movie we all know, us horror fans. Have you ever seen Let the Right One In?
Maybe. I
Have
don't
you
really
seen-
remember it, but I know about it. It's about vampires.
Yeah.
Right? Like a little child vampires.
They actually have a TV show on it right now, which I think is on Showtime. I haven't watched that, but I have watched the original and I have watched the Matt Reeves remake, Let Me In.
Yeah.
The American version is more forceful. It's not like Let the Right One. It's like, just let me in.
Let me in.
All right. So we start this episode the way we like, with a previously on fucking Chucky.
Previously on fucking Chucky.
That always gets a good laugh out of me. This time it is by Lexi. So, spoilers for the episode. Obviously, we're here to talk about the whole thing. Did you see the death of Miss Fairchild coming in this episode?
No, not until it was literally happening.
Yeah. I didn't think she was going to die
die
until pretty much she was dead.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, someone will walk in, she'll do something, whatever. Yeah. But oh no, they committed to it.
She died.
She came back for a short little clip there.
Yeah.
Which is, it's a bummer. Like, it definitely fits Chucky's MO as far as like, he really loves screwing with them. Mm-hmm. And he, you know, like he said, like, I can't give up this opportunity to make them orphans again. Like, dog problems. Okay. So, yeah. I mean, he absolutely wants to piss them off and make their life misery.
Yeah, he does. He's mean-spirited. Always. And whatever he can do to cause pain, he's going to do it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna...
he just thinks it's, like, entertaining and funny.
I'm not going to put anything past Chucky at this point.
No.
Like, he is soulless. He isn't soulless. He is a soul. He's a fractured soul.
He's part of a soul.
That's all he is a soul in a doll's body now.
Evil soul.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, he is not soulless, but he's an asshole.
He is an asshole.
Okay, so, yeah, Miss Fairchild, like, this was definitely a send-off episode for her in a way because, like, we got a lot of her mothering going on in here, and she was just so sweet, and she's just too good for this show.
Yeah.
Right? You know, like, she's, of course, going to get killed off. She's too pure and too good of a person. Chucky's, of course, just got to, you know, bat that down.
Yeah, just like, what's her name from the last season that we loved?
Yeah.
With the glasses.
Oh, yeah.
That was like,
oh my God,
being so sweet to Chucky.
Oh my God, fell out the window.
Oh God, yeah. I totally forget her name, but
I do too.
Yeah.
But we loved her.
Unfortunately, she died.
Yeah, yeah. That's Chucky for you. Holds no bars. Nice. Okay, so, you know, R.I.P. to Miss Fairchild. So that sucked. All right, so. Now, the first kid here, the little one, Henry, right? He thinks, and this makes sense to me now. At first I was like, interesting. But now I'm like, oh, wait, of course he would. Like, he thinks his brother's in that doll.
Yeah.
Right? Chucky has convinced him
that
he's his brother.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that as an option the first episode. But that makes perfect sense. Like, the doll's talking to him, says his name's Joseph. He probably, you know, he had a close connection with his brother.
Yeah.
Now, he's a kid, right? So he's not going to ask for proof, right? Or something to be like, oh yeah, if you're my brother, then what did we do? Blah, blah, blah. Right? Like, he's a kid. He's just going to be like, oh my God, like, this is crazy. And at that age, you're willing to believe anything.
Yeah.
So it would be very easy for him to accept.
Do we know how many years ago his brother died?
I don't think so.
I wonder if Chucky had
Please let us know if we're wrong.
Had some type of, like...
If he did it?
He caused it or something in order to infiltrate.
That would be
It's
interesting.
possible, but I kind of feel like they said it was a couple years ago, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
It yeah, I mean, if the timeline lined up, I just don't think we're ever going to get that explanation, but that would be like this close to an explanation as we were going to get.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What do you guys think? Did it say in the last episode or in this episode when the real Joseph died? I didn't catch it, but you know, we can only catch so many things every episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, maybe. But regardless, I never considered it as a possibility that he actually thinks as his brother. Which I get now that
It makes
now that we're
sense.
saying it out loud, it's like so obvious, and it's like, yeah, of course that's what he thinks, especially with the name.
Well, yeah,
That's
especially
why he
with
did
the
it.
confirmation of his name. Yeah.
Yeah, I still want to know how the hell Chucky got in the White House. I want to know how he got sent to the first kid.
Right.
That to me is like, I don't know about that. We didn't talk about the thing we normally talk about in every episode of the past, the opening title card. Last week's was American flags.
Yep.
This week is eyeballs. I feel like the American flag, even though I know that we're like dealing with the presidency and in America and all that stuff, I feel like that one actually fits better here since it's literally used as a murder weapon in this episode.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I agree. It's really, I feel like the eyeballs are just because there was like a close up on his eye.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I mean, like the eyeballs are cool, but yeah, thematically, the American flag works better with this episode.
I did notice, and this happens here and there, but you know, Chucky the doll always looks great, but there is some weird looking, like I think it's green screen or something, because the doll, from what I've heard, the doll is always 100% practical.
Yeah.
And that, you know, obviously they have to like put things around him to hide the puppeteers and whatever. Right. So sometimes, like when he was laying on the ground and stuff, like after he had killed the secretary, there was definitely some shots there that looked off. And it looked like CGI on him, but it's like, I've heard he's completely practical. But that shot and then another shot didn't look so good because of like stuff around him.
Yeah.
But that's, I mean, I don't really care. It's just, it's noticeable.
Yeah.
And it takes you out of it for a second.
I really liked his expression when he was killing Mrs. Fairchild.
Yeah.
I thought that he looked really scary while he was doing that.
Yeah, this show definitely tries to blend comedy and the horror, right? They're trying to kind of give you a flavor of both, you know, as to where Cedar Chucky went all in on the horror, and then they tried to reverse that a bit with Curse of Chucky, right? They tried to bring it back to its roots with like what Child's Play was, and then Chucky kind of slowly became more and more comedic. And I think now Mancini has really focused on trying to blend them, but I do still think that the show is more comedy, playful than. Agree. So I think we're somewhere between like Child's Play 3 and Bride of Chucky. I feel like that's the tone that we're at. We're nowhere near the Seed of Chucky level of like absolute like goofiness.
Yeah.
Right? Which I love Seed of Chucky. I know there's a lot of detractors of that show or that movie, but this show I feel like does blend the horror and the comedy really well. At times I don't know if it would fit. I don't know if it would work at this point if you ever really tried to like do more horror than is currently being put into this show. Because of the tone, because of the characters, because of how everything's been set up, you can inject like some, but too much would just kind of feel like this feels different.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that would be a terrible thing. I just don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I like the tone that it has right now.
This is the tone it's had since episode 1.
Yeah, I mean, I like this though. Like, it works well for me, but it is because I don't mind a goofy Chucky. I just think that the character lends itself really well to that. because it's a doll, because he's a toy, and people play with toys, and obviously taking a killer doll, that's part of what makes it so scary for a lot of people. But
Yeah.
I just think with Chucky's personality, which really shines through in these seasons that we've gotten for the show, I just think that it works really well with comedy.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I take back what I said about 3 and 4. It's most tonally the same and similar to Cult of Chucky.
Yeah.
Which, of course, that's the most recent film.
Yeah.
That's the way it was heading. So it makes sense that it would just kind of follow that path, because that's more silly, but also super gruesome. And that's the thing I think I would praise this show for the most, is that the kills really go for it.
Yeah, they do.
Right? Even though Miss Fairchild's death is really basic, you got a good looking Chucky, as you had said.
Yes.
But the secretary's death is wild.
Yeah. She's got a really graphic death.
Yeah.
I feel like Miss Fairchild's death is more respectful. Like they didn't brutalize her body.
Yeah.
But yeah, the secretary's death looked great.
It looked great.
It was wonderful, and I hope that kind of continues to be the trend for this season. I don't really remember the other seasons if we got like a brutal death every episode, but so far with the last episode, we got Teddy. His death looked great.
Oh yeah.
The secretary this episode, so it'd be cool to get one really nice graphic looking death each episode, or more. I mean, we'd like more, sure. But like one at least would be cool.
Yeah, I think one's fine. One's enough. I mean, I'll take more, but I don't have any issue with there being 1 or even 0, depending.
Sure. I mean, it's not necessary. It would be nice.
Yeah. But the secretary's death in this is really good. Is really, really good. Like the effects on it when her head goes back looks so good. Mm-hmm. Like I doubt that's what someone's head looks like if it was like hanging from the back. Like I don't care. It looks perfectly graphic.
Yeah.
And her face and her head and everything, it's seamless.
Yes.
With her with this effect.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they did it. I don't know if it was like a composite shot with her face on a thing. I don't know what it was, but it looked fantastic. Okay. So A+ on the kills thus far this season and throughout the show.
Yeah.
Lexi's mom's death might still be the highlight of the show.
Yeah.
The chainsaw having was wild. But great. There's so many good kills in this show.
Yes.
And Chucky, I feel like, especially with the later Chuckies from Cult or Curse to now, I feel like Chucky has really great kills.
Yeah, I mean, he gets really creative with his kills.
Yeah.
So they're always like different.
There's a playfulness to them, which they can, I think because of the comedic tone, they get away with more.
Yeah, it's kind of like the same thing with Dolores Roach. We watched that recently, and there's some really graphic stuff in that.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I think that whenever horror is done with like a heavy-handed comedy aspect, the gore is easier to incorporate because it's not as realistic. It's
Yeah. So. Yeah. No, I agree. Okay, so confirmation, the wife Charlotte in this of the president, first lady, she is Sister Ruth.
Yeah.
From last season. So we talked about it, but we didn't confirm, but that has been confirmed. And so Chucky's counting down. He says 2, then 3 out of 6. So he's trying to get 6 kills. I can only imagine this has to do with some kind of a ritual. Once he's killed 6 people in the same location or something, because he's killed a hell of a lot more than 3 people already. Yes. So it obviously has to be an accumulation in some specific area for some specific reason, or whatever the hell, maybe in this new body.
Right.
Whatever it is, for him to be able to take over the president's soul and and become the president of the United States. I don't know. That's my guess, because that's what we had hypothesized last time, is that Chucky is trying to take over the president and transfer his soul.
Yeah, I mean, he's It seems like he's doing some type of ritual.
And I
by
really,
collecting
really
his
hope,
kills.
really hope that Chucky is successful by the end of this season.
Yeah.
And that in season 4, the kids are now going up against
The president of the United States.
Chucky.
Oh my god. Yeah, that'd be great.
I mean, what do you do about that?
You don't. You die.
He's got the whole, like, oh my god.
He's got
just thinking about him, like, trying to invade different countries
military.
and start war. Like, he wants to just up the body count. And what better to do that than being the most powerful man in the world?
Yeah.
And just, launching all sorts of different strikes. I just, to see Chucky taking over Devon Sawa's body,
Yeah.
to go around and do horrible, devastating things as president just sounds really funny to me.
Yeah.
And then the kids trying to stop the president of the United States, like, that sounds so outrageous.
Yeah, and
I
so
can't wait.
absurd, and so, like, it also sounds somehow like the plot of a Disney movie. Or, you know what I mean, though? Like,
Except for
some,
the
like,
genocide.
like Spy Kids.
Sure.
Like, it sounds like that part, the whole going up against the president. So
Yeah. So we've got some, like, detective guy who's played by an actor that I've seen in a million things, most notably The Shawshank Redemption. But I've seen this guy in so many fucking things at this point. But he's covering up these murders.
Yep.
Because he's trying to protect the country, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
he doesn't want the president to be under investigation and taken down or make the country look bad or something.
Yeah, I think it's more about, like, saving face. I mean, he keeps spinning it like, oh, we don't want to tarnish, the president's name or, yeah, but I think it's more broadly about the United States, which he kind of even says, like, I would do anything to this country.
Yeah.
Whatever patriotic thing he says.
Yeah.
He's an asshole. I don't like him.
Yeah.
And he blackmails the first lady
with pictures of an affair that she knew about, they had resolved and moved on from. Mm-hmm. So this isn't like some new thing to her where she's like, oh my god, now I know my husband's cheating on me too. Yeah. It's like, no, I already knew about this. The infidelity is handled supposedly and we're moving on. But then he's going to use it against them. It's like, I don't know. At this point, when she was, like, ready to call, if she's going to call about murder, covering up a murder, because they already covered up a murder.
Yeah, they did.
So she was picking up the phone, committed to the idea of admitting to the fact that they've hid a murder because they hid the secretary's body and got rid of it.
Yeah.
Right? So she's been thinking about that. So when she picked up that phone to call the police, I just don't feel like your husband kissing another woman and sees pictures is going to be like, well, shit, that's too big to get out. What? No.
I guess it's just kind of like that on top of everything else.
Because he's screwed. When she goes to pick up the phone, though.
I mean, yeah.
Like, I don't. Right. He doesn't have anything to do with it, but it would be the end of him.
Yeah, you're right that there's still, like, they covered up a murder when their whole platform is transparency.
Yeah.
But I guess in her mind, it's also like those photos, because they're from the past and they were, like, being transparent, like, supposedly the entire, like, election process with everything. It would be like, we lied to you from the beginning. I don't know. I guess that was her mentality, is what I would assume. But
question:
yes,
if you voted for a president and he was having an affair on his wife that she found out about, do you really think that matters to you, like, for them to do their job? Like, would you be like, oh my god, why weren't you fully transparent about your affair?
I mean, ultimately, no. I don't think it's any of my business what happens in other people's relationships. But I think when you're the president, or when you're, like, a high-ranking political official, you, like, unfortunately, your life is scrutinized.
I get that.
More deeply than, like, the average person. And something like infidelity, although there can be a lot of reasons for why people, like, cheat on their partners, like overall it's usually a negative thing. So it just kind of tarnishes the character.
Oh,
So
sure.
it would affect
It
a
would
lot of
affect.
people. People
Sure.
would be like really pissed off about it. And they'd be pissed off about the fact that they didn't, like, not only that he did it, but also that they didn't know about it. So it's like, yeah, you cheated and you didn't tell us.
I agree, but I just don't know why we should care.
Yeah.
But I guess it speaks to his character, right? So yeah, anyway, Grant, the other son, who Lexi is thirst trapping, at least she was going to, and then she went from the heart. But he still just wants what's on top of her heart anyway. Grant sucks. Like, you said, oh, it's this and that because he was like not liked at school and but like forcing the guys to follow him and the way he talks, and I don't care. I don't care what it is, dude. I was bullied in school. Tons of people were bullied. Tons of people had parents that didn't pay attention. Dude, I'm not an idiot like that.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't like him really either. But I feel like he had a really sweet moment with his younger brother.
Yeah.
Which I appreciated.
Yeah.
But I do think he's insecure.
Yeah.
I think that he doesn't have any real friendships because he's the president's son. So it's like people are either, they're like afraid to be friends with him, or, maybe he would have the opposite, like where rich people only have people wanting to hang out with them for their money.
Yeah.
So I do think it's a facade that he puts up, like the weird influencer thing that he's doing.
Demanding but it is people follow you.
Awkward. It was really awkward to watch him be like, "You're not following me." Like, I checked and you're not following me.
Yeah.
Is very uncomfortable, and I do love their reactions to that, where they're just like, like they just laugh and then they're like, "Wait, really? Like you need us to do it right now?"
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he sucks.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going with. The sex ed scene with Miss Fairchild was super cute and funny, and Jake and Devin can't seem to get any time to. I did find it funny though, because that obviously is a conversation you have to have when you're gay men, but like, what are we doing here? Am I a bottom? Am I a top? Are we both? Like, I don't know. I've never been in that situation, so I don't really know how that conversation goes, and neither have they. Right? This is their first time ever having done that, and I like that that's kind of called out in here, where he's like, "Oh, we got that covered." And he's like, "Do we?"
Yeah. Right? Yeah, they're like learning together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love this scene because, I mean, I think the show is obviously like super inclusive, which is one thing that I love about it. And like their relationship, I love how much of it is, a part of the show, and like the representation of like, gay kids do get the sex ed talk too. It's not just for like straight people to be like, oh, don't get pregnant. Like, there's a lot of reasons why you would have a sex ed talk. Like, there are other safety reasons, like she says, besides pregnancy, and like different factors, obviously, for different like sexual orientations.
I'm shocked still, especially this season. I haven't seen any of it, so I am shocked that the outrage hasn't come towards this show somehow, right? Because I get that Don Mancini is gay, right, and whatever, but like typically if you take a super popular franchise and then you inject overtly gay characters, like you have an interracial teen gay couple constantly trying to bang each other right now, and talking on like a parent sitting down with them very positively, influencing them just to be safe and talk. That is this is like hardcore triggering for idiots.
Yeah.
Right? So like, I would think that this, of all the things that I've seen, because I see the dumbest shit get brought up as like, oh my God, they're trying to push their agendas on us.
Yeah.
And it's literally like nothing. It's like the Avengers scene when one guy says like, that their partner is a he.
Oh.
It's like, oh, I miss him. And they were like, why are they pushing their agendas? And then you got like an interracial couple basically sticking their dicks in each other in this episode.
Because
and they're
Marvel
just nothing.
Fans are homophobic and horror fans aren't.
100% not true. 100% not true.
I'm just kidding. I mean, I'm sure if you looked, you could probably find the discrimination.
Big Jim and Little Jim got a bunch of shit.
Oh, that's true. John,
sorry.
Jim and Little Jim are their cousins.
Yeah, for fucking Halloween kills.
That are also dating.
So, I'm shocked. I'm happy.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it.
Well, but yeah, I'm sure
it exists.
I'm sure it does exist, and
I just
those
haven't seen
people
it.
suck. And I mean, yeah, like this is why we need more of this type of stuff in film and TV.
Sure.
Like, because you need to push back against those, like, shitty, homophobic, racist mindsets. And because it's important for people to see themselves represented.
Absolutely.
Like, the show is graphic, but, like, it does definitely, I feel like, cater towards a younger audience. Like, just given the fact that they're teenagers, I think that there's probably a lot of, I mean, I haven't looked into the demographics of like who's watching the show, but I would guess that there are obviously younger people watching it.
Yeah, and they're young, because
they are young.
I just looked up Lexi because I was curious. I was like, this chick's gotta be in like 80, like she's gotta be legal at this point because of how long the show's been on now, because they've been filming it for years.
Oh no, I bet she's like 17.
She's 16 years old.
Yeah.
So that means she's like 14 in the first season, which is really kind of wild to me because they talk about sex and
drugs,
fucking, and
she has
all
like
this
a
in
drug problem.
Every episode, man. And you've got like 14, 15-year-olds doing this stuff. But that, that's life. Like there is a lot of kids who do that kind of shit at that age. So
totally.
That's not anyway. Okay. Moving on from that. I'm surprised. I'm happily surprised.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want it to get any hatred. I don't want there to be that like backlash against it, because A, that's dumb.
Maybe because it's
I don't want it to
so in your face.
I mean, maybe
they're just kind of like, well, they're not being subtle about
they're
it.
Not trying to like brainwash us and like sneak it in our heads.
Right. I do like that they do somewhat of a background check, as you had said. Oh, they definitely do one. They do.
Yeah.
She interrogates her herself. The first lady brings her in. Now, how they're gonna get? I guess now she's pretty much gonna have to invite them after what happened. Because I mean, we saw in the trailer that the kids go to a Halloween party.
Yeah.
Right. We saw that in the trailer.
Yeah.
And that, I already know what episode that happens in because of IMDb. Because it says it right there when I was looking at the episode titles. Like, it's right under it. And I was like, oh, well, that's where that happens. But we knew it was coming because of the trailer.
Yeah.
But that's it. I mean, Chucky admits to them, because he has to, that he killed Miss Fairchild.
It's so funny. Like, I love seeing Chucky, like, when he's, like, FaceTiming and stuff.
Yeah.
That is so funny to me. Like, especially because he's like, oh, bad reception. Like, I don't know.
Let me connect to the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, he's just so comedic and so mean. Like I said at the beginning, he's so mean-spirited. It's such a good combination.
Yeah, he's like the worst bully ever.
Yeah, but he's like the worst funny bully.
Yeah.
It's like you're laughing at him, but he's making you cry. Or you're laughing at his jokes.
It is funny how we watch stuff all the time where there's bullies being so unbelievably mean. And we hate them, and we want them dead, and we hate like every scene they're in, and this and that. And Chucky has been bullying people in every friggin' movie, in everything for 30 years now.
Yeah.
And somehow we still love him.
I mean, part of that is because he has transcended the bully title, and he's a villain. And I mean, he's not a good person. He's not like somebody to look up to, but there's this satisfaction and charm, but the satisfaction when he kills people that you don't like. Like when he kills, like just assholes and stuff throughout the franchise.
Yeah.
obviously he kills a lot of innocent people and a lot of people that don't deserve to die, and that's when you hate him and are like, that's when you hate him. But then there's moments when he's killing people that are just like jerks or whatever, and you're satisfied by it. You're like, oh good, I'm so glad that Chucky killed them.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, that I think is the rub of like almost every horror fan, like especially if you're a fan of like slasher franchises in general, you love the villains. Like they are what you're excited to see.
Right, they're the constant.
You want to see them kill people, and you want to also see them get killed.
Sure. But Chucky will never die.
No.
So that's it for this episode. So I guess that's it. Anything else?
No.
Yeah?
That's it.
All right. Well, till next week, guys. Adios.
Bye.